What's up? What's up, witches? What is up? First of all, shout out to Jessica. Hello. Thank you for the love. Thank you. Gratitude is the attitude, and there is not enough of that going on. I have to be honest with you. Thank you so much, Jessica. That is absolutely beautiful. It is my birthday. Okay. And so I am super, super grateful for the love that has been pouring in from just everybody in this community that really understands what it has taken to get here, and just the 5 years that we've all been putting in to make this space like a space for all witches to feel comfortable, to be able to learn, to grow, to connect with each other. That is not an easy thing to create, and yeah, it's definitely been an incredible labor of love, heavy on the love, but also heavy on the labor. And so I want to say thank you to just each and every one of you that has made the labor part of it not only just a little bit easier, but rewarding. I think that that happens a lot. And it's not like anybody's fault, but I do think that with life being so lifing and the way things are busy and the internet being so distracting, sometimes we get a lot of fulfillment, a lot of reward, a lot of encouragement, a lot of insight, from people on the internet that provide so much for us, usually for free or for very little. And I think sometimes we get so used to that that we forget how much goes into that. And then when those places disappear or those people go away because they can't do it anymore, we're like, oh no, we're devastated, and we definitely feel the loss. But we can prevent that by making sure that we stay in that attitude of gratitude, and we back that gratitude up with action. The other day, I encourage you guys to do this. It's a great idea. I had like a gratitude hour or whatever, because there are several witches, tarot readers, and astrologers that I follow online. And I watch their pick a cards, or I watch their weekly forecasts, or I watch their videos about upcoming moon transits. And they put these videos on YouTube. They're free for me to watch. And I know that YouTube gives us a little bit, but when I tell you it's a little bit, I'm talking pennies, little bit. So I just went through and just went to all of their websites and made donations or purchased things on their websites. I just spent like a couple hours just doing that, just going through all of the different witches and practitioners that I follow on Instagram and on YouTube, whose videos encourage me, boost me up, give me insight, teach me things, because I'm not an astrologer. So the astrology pages really teach me a lot. And yeah, I just went through, and if I could find a donation link on their website, I donated. And if I couldn't, then I bought something. I bought a class, I bought, materials that they make, oils, etc., to make sure that I practice what I preach, and make sure that I don't forget that there is so much work that goes into all of the incredible things that witches do. And if we are going to see a world where witches are thriving, and where being a reader, being a healer, is something that is really viable as a full time job, so that people can bring these things to their communities, then we have to put our money where our mouth is, period, point blank. Like, we can't just keep consuming all the free stuff and taking from all of these readers and practitioners, and content creators, and letting what they make build up our lives and our well-being, and then leaving them hanging. So the internet era, has definitely bred a lot of like vampire energy from all of us. It's turned us all into takers. And it's time that we acknowledge that, and that we do something about it. So I don't want to be a taker. So I went through and just visited everybody's website and just did a little something that I could. And I encourage you to do the same. I felt amazing afterwards. And I feel like how incredible my birthday went potentially was because of what I did, because the timing of it just lined up really interestingly. As soon as I did that, what started off as what was going to be like a very simple, kind of like straightforward birthday, turned into an epic weekend, which I'm going to tell you all about. But let me say hi to everybody first. Hello, hello, the what for? Hi, Dreamy Sunshine. How you doing? Thank you for the love. Hey, Jody. Hey, Jody. What's up? I met Jody for the first time this weekend, y'all. She was a part of my incredible birthday weekend. Hey, hey. What's up, Laurenberg? I see you here. Thank you so much for the love. Appreciate you. Welcome, everybody. I want to check something because I might do a quick little reading for us before I go tonight. Because I took the Mahogany Tarot with me. No, they're not on bookstore. Okay, wait. So let me pull up this deck on Amazon real quick so that you guys can access it if you want it. Because I love this deck very, very much. It is called the Mahogany Tarot. It is by Kashira Hickson. And it basically just takes the usual Rider-Waite tarot deck and just melanated all of the characters. So it's not like anything crazy. How do you spell mahogany? Mahogany. It's going to be the images that you are very much, used to. But for folks that are melanated, if you are a person of color, sometimes, folks of color don't necessarily understand this. But it can be really like difficult sometimes seeing a world where, where you just like don't see yourself, basically, is the problem. And so when you do see yourself, it's really special. Okay. And I'm just adding this here to my recommended books list and my stuff I love list. So that I can share this with you. But yeah, it can be really difficult not seeing yourself represented in things. And sometimes that just really makes it hard to connect with something and like really like, feel its vibration. So I want to share this deck with you guys. Okay, here we go. I just added it to my Amazon list and I'm going to put it in the description of this video right now. Bam, bam, bam. Let's see. Where can I edit the description? Here we go. Mahogany Tarot on Amazon. I was looking to see if I could list it in our bookshop store, but it didn't have it. So I will put it for you guys on Amazon right now. And yeah. Okay, so that should be down in the description. I am going to pull some cards from this deck a little bit later. And if you resonate with this deck and also want to grab it, I've just made it easier for you to do that. Thank you so much, Jessica, for the love. Appreciate you. I appreciate that so, so much. Oh, hey, Jasmine. Hey, hey. Okay, yes, Jasmine and Jody were a part of my epic birthday weekend, making it super special, unexpected awesomeness from my birthday weekend. So how is everybody doing, though, before we get into that? And while you guys are dropping in the comments how you're doing today, what you're sipping on. If you're having some tea or anything like that, I will give you some church announcements, as they say, because they're all relevant to what I'm going to talk about today. So first of all, the Mahogany Tarot. I'm going to pull some cards for us to give us a message from our spirit guides towards the end of this live. And this is the deck that I'm going to be using because I took it with me to my birthday weekend, and it was just singing. Obviously, the message are coming from my guides and not from the cards itself, but it was just really wonderful that I brought that particular deck with me, that they gave me that push to bring this one with me. It really made sense. So I have put that in the description if you're interested in that tarot deck. On Wednesday, I am teaching a class to help you all to identify and connect with your spirit guides, because I'm going to be telling you all about how my spirit guides led me through this weekend and helped to make it so amazing. And I want to basically show you guys what it looks like to have a relationship with your spirit guides and the types of answers and the types of clarity and the types of guidance that they can give you. And I firmly believe that every witch should have a relationship with at least one ancestor and at least one guide. And I've already taught my class Orphaned Ancestry to help witches, especially witches that are disconnected from their family lines, to connect with their ancestors. That's in the HQ online portal. You can access it whenever you'd like. If you look in the description for the link to take classes from me, it'll take you there. So that class is already available to you. And now I have a new class coming up because I believe, in addition to having at least one ancestor that you know, that you should have at least one spirit guide that you can identify. You can tell when they're talking to you. You can go to them when you have questions. They can help you with particular areas of your life. And so that class is dropping on Wednesday night at 10 o'clock. It's called Divine Guidance, How to Work with Your Spirit Guides. I'm going to teach you what spirit guides are, because they are not ancestors. They're not angels. They are not the same type of vibration. They are a specific type of energy being that was assigned to walk with you through your life and help you out with certain things. That's all they're here for. They have never walked on this planet. They've never had a human body. They are here to guide you and help you. And so there are also different categories of the types of spirit guides that you might have walking with you. So I'm going to teach you all about that. And then I'm going to teach you how to actually make connection with those guides so that you can begin working with them and having a relationship with them like I have with mine. If you're not interested in that class, I also want to let you know that I have a tarot reading that I offer called a Spirit Guide Tarot Reading. This is a reading that my spirit guides taught me last year and then gave me the okay to start offering to the public. So it's a newer reading. And in that reading, we will sit down. I will go to my guides and they will reach out and ask your guide, the one that would benefit you the most right now in your life, to step forward and identify themselves and tell us what they look like, where they dwell, how you can call on them, what part of your life they're going to help you with, and things like that, so that you can walk away with all the information you need to keep going and building a relationship with them yourself. But it's a great starting point. So all of these things I've linked in the description: the tarot deck, the link to take my class, and the reading. Now, I wanted to give something special to you guys for hanging out in the live. So if you look down in the description, there is a code just for you guys, and you can take 50% off of the Divine Guidance class on Wednesday. So, and if you can't come on Wednesday, as always, all my classes live forever in the HQ online portal. You don't have to take them the day and time that I teach them live. The replay is available, all the materials, whether I include an ebook, handout, quizzes, surveys, etc. All of the additional materials are available forever in the portal. So even if you can't tune in on Tuesday, go ahead and enroll for that class and use the code that I just dropped down below. I think I put it to expire after the class is over. So just buy the class, it'll be in your student dashboard, and then you can take it whenever you are ready. But the code is live stream, all capital letters. The link to access the class is down below, and it will give you 50% off of this class. because gratitude, right? So I'm saying thank you to all of you guys with this code, okay? So write down the code. I put it in the description too. And make sure to enroll in the class before it ends on Wednesday. That way you have it. You can take it whenever you want. You are so welcome. You are so welcome. I was like, you know what? I usually give my discount codes and stuff like that to my mailing list. Should get on that. My mailing list people were able to take this class for $1. Okay, don't be jelly, just get on the mailing list. Link in the description. Okay, the reason why they were able to take this class for $1 is because I usually do a bump sale every time I teach a new class. And a bump sale is a super cool platform where everybody who buys, you start it at a certain amount and then it goes up a certain amount with every purchase. And I always start my class off at $1. And with every person that enrolls, it goes up by $1. So like 12 people on my mailing list got to take the class for less than $12. So definitely consider signing up for my mailing list. The link to that is in the description, of course, because I do a bump sale with every class that I drop, but I only share the bump sale with my mailing list. But I was like, you know what? My YouTubers, folks that follow me on YouTube, I should give them something special too. So you can't take the class for $1, but you can get it 50% off, which is still pretty amazing. Bump sales are a great idea. I first learned about it from Arlen Hamilton, who is like the number one Black queer woman venture capitalist in Silicon Valley right now. I went to her conference, Your First Million Live, in April in LA. She is absolutely phenomenal. And she first told me about Bump Sale. And so I reached out to Rodney, who's the CEO of the Bump Sale platform. He walked me through it, got me all set up, gave me a really cool t-shirt, and we met up at the conference. So shout out to Rodney. What a freaking genius idea. It is a great way for you to run a sale for your people, that basically like rewards people for acting fast, rewards people for being sure about what they want, and rewards people for, paying attention, reading your emails, watching for the sales, and like actually engaging with your community. There are a bunch of people on my mailing list who have no idea that the bump sale happened. Why? Because they're not paying attention. They're not opening those emails. They're not actually engaging. Why they joined the mailing list in the first place, I don't really know. But they missed out. The sale ran for like 10 days. So the people that are paying attention, that are benefiting from the things that I teach, that are watching to see when I'm going to drop another class, when I'm going to offer something new, they got rewarded with the bump sale. Hey, I love that. I love that. I'm very much not in a place to be spoon feeding things to people that don't actually care enough about themselves to really engage in the things that people are creating. If you are a doom scroller and you expect to learn everything you need in life and you expect to get ahead in life just by moving your thumbs and letting the algorithm shove things into your faces, best of luck to you. Okay, best of luck to you. But for those of you that know that the beauty of the internet is it gives you access to things, but it does not do the work for you, and that you are going to have to decide to take the initiative to attend events, take classes, watch live streams, like actually get readings, buy certain products, like actually engage with the people who are out here using the same magic to make their lives amazing. Instead of just watching us across your screen, deciding for yourself that you also want to live a magical life. You also want to be able to read the stars and make decisions about what to do next. You also want to be able to pull cards and receive messages through them from your ancestors, from your spirit guides. You also want to be able to cast spells that are going to actually change the outcome of things in life, in your benefit. We're all making that available to you. And it's up to you to decide if you're going to take advantage of it or if you're just going to like keep watching us do it. So shout out to the folks on my mailing list that are taking that initiative, because I want to see every single witch really get to that point where they are not babies anymore and they are thriving. So, shout out to the people who are signing up for the Better Witch Magic Intensive. Lauren Berg in the house. Lauren Berg, I think you're registered. Did you register for the fall semester? I think you did, right? Fall semester of the Better Witch Magic Intensive kicks off September 4th. This is my 6-month long class and coaching program for witches that are tired of being baby witches. They're tired of buying books. They're tired of watching YouTubes. They're tired of buying candles and herbs that they don't know how to work with. And they are ready to get to that level where they are confident, they are capable, they are proficient. So this is for the witch that is serious. We spent 6 months together. Shout out to the graduates of the spring semester. Yes. Super proud of them. But we will spend 6 months together with classes every 2 weeks, one-on-one coaching sessions, recommended further study reading lists from me. There are quizzes, there are assignments that I assign to you. And we basically move through what magic really is and how to incorporate it into your actual life. So that now, after that class, when you read the witchy book or you watch the video or you buy the candle, you know what to do with it. You know how to actually use the information or use that product rather than just like throwing darts in the dark and hoping for the best. So the Magic Intensive is also in the online portal. Registration ends on the 28th of this month, and we get started on the 4th of September. All of the classes are pre-recorded, whether they're live. No, all of the classes are available for replay within the program. Some of them are live classes, some of them are pre-recorded. But you can really move through the program at your own pace. But if you keep on track with me and with your classmates, then you will finish in 6 months. And by February, you will be a completely different witch. And I want you to think about, for those of you who are interested, I want you to think about where you were 6 months from now, like 6 months ago, and ask yourself whether or not you've really genuinely made any progress as a practitioner. And I don't mean to say that to throw any shade. It's just that we can really easily let months and months pass and we keep telling ourselves we're going to get better. We keep telling ourselves we're going to get serious. Keep telling ourselves we're finally going to dedicate ourselves to journaling every day or reading a book a month or whatever. And then we wake up 6 months later and we haven't even gotten started. So if 6 months ago you were basically the same witch that you are today, let's change that. Consider enrolling in that program. And 6 months from now, you will be somebody completely different. So, yeah. And there's videos on here of like my graduates talking about their experience. So if you're curious, you can just like search for their videos. They're called like review videos. So you can listen to them talk about their experiences in the program. Okay. No, I don't think so. But were you gonna? I for some reason have you in my mind as one of the students. I think you were thinking about it. Okay. Those are the church announcements. Shall we get into this epic birthday story and all of this tea that I'm about to share? I'm about to like give y'all some serious info. Because I'm just going to tell you everything. Like, I am not going to hold back. I'm not going to keep anything to myself. Okay. I am going to give you guys the rundown of everything that happened in my very, very, very unexpected birthday weekend. Hey, Nuri, what's up? What's up? Nice, nice, nice. Oh, you were thinking about taking the business intensive. Okay. On the landing page for the business intensive is a place to indicate your interest in that. I decided to move that back to the fall because or like later in the fall, probably the winter time, because I had a lot of people saying that they wanted to take it, but they were not ready. And so I was like, you know what? Let me just let everybody who is interested sign up on this wait list. And then when all those people who said they weren't ready are like, I'm ready, I'll go ahead and drop it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that a few people had said that, which I can totally, completely understand. So just make sure you sign up for the wait list on the intensive landing page. That way I know that you're interested. I decided to push it back anyway. So don't worry, you're not missing anything. The business intensive is going to happen probably later this year. But the magic intensive, we're on our fourth semester now, so that's always happening. And the fall semester kicks off September 4th. Registration ends on August 28th. And I will be talking more about the fall semester in the Divine Guidance Spirit Guide class that's happening on Wednesday. So if you think you might be interested in that program, but you're not totally sure, sign up for the Divine Guidance class. I just dropped a code for you to take that class for 50% off and learn more about the program there and decide if it's right for you. Okay, awesome. Will do. Okay. I just need some music in the background. Some vibes. Okay. My birthday, shall we? Is it dark in here? It is. This light bulb blew out, and I was being lazy and didn't feel like changing it. So I'm using this light. Let's move this closer. Let's see. Okay, that's a little better. That's a little better. You already signed up in one of the earlier bumps. Okay, yay. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So you'll be in class. Cool. See you there. See you there. Okay, so I was talking forever, but people were telling me how they were doing. Jasmine is doing okay. Hopes to see me later this week. Yes, stop by the shop. I will be there. Laurenberg is figuring out life. Listen, I got to tell you, you are not alone in that for sure. And I have really gotten to a place where I am realizing that I do not need to do the figuring out. I do not need to do the figuring out. I am learning what it means to have faith. And that might sound kind of religious to some folks, and it might sound kind of corny to others. But that is truly what is happening in my life. And it is what my guides are bringing me to. And it is difficult for somebody like me to be in that space because I am so used to always feeling like I have to figure it out. I have to figure it out. I have to figure this out. Nobody's going to help me. I don't really have a lot of support. People don't understand what I'm going through or what I'm doing. If they do, they don't have the resources or the skills to help me anyway. So I have to figure it out. And I'm really learning that in a lot of ways, I've been getting in my own way by being in this mindset. And that I accomplish so much more, so many more blessings, so many more unexpected, incredible occurrences have been happening in my life as a result of letting go of that mindset and having faith. Um, and I think the first thing that I want to say before I get into the details of like how this all played out is what faith actually is and how it is different. Is that loud? If I put my fan up, can you guys hear that? Hey, Mariah, thank you. Can you guys hear that? Is that too loud? I feel like it's too loud. I'm gonna turn it back down. No. Oh, you couldn't hear that? Okay, cool. Couldn't hear it. Okay, cool. All right. I might turn it back up then. I don't have the AC on because the AC is way, way loud. That you will definitely hear. Okay. But so actually shout out to Nuri because Nuri helped me to articulate the difference between faith and trust. Nuri, by the way, you guys, is a graduate of the BetterWitch Magic Intensive, but Nuri is also the moderator of our coven in the HQ online portal and the administrator of our book club. So many of you know Nuri very well. They're also a shop witch at the shop, so you might see Nuri at the shop when you come in. But Nuri was a student of the Better Witch Magic Intensive, graduated 2 semesters ago, and during one of our coaching sessions, Nuri asked some really great questions that helped me to articulate for myself what the difference between faith and trust is. Thank you, Jasmine. And this is what I came up with. So, trust, you may have heard people say trust is earned. Trust is when we can feel certain that something is going to happen or that someone is going to do something because we have seen them do it before. They have shown up for us before. Hey, Leslyn, what's up? Another coven member in the building. Another Better Witch Magic Intensive graduate in the building. What's up, Leslyn? So we trust things that have proven themselves to be trustworthy. Trustworthiness comes from showing up consistently and being reliable and dependable every time. Faith is the other side of the same coin. But faith comes first. Faith is when we rely on something, even though we don't yet have the evidence that it's going to work out. We don't yet have the evidence of consistency and reliability. Faith is when we put our belief in something, even though it hasn't yet actually shown up for us. Once it's shown up for us, it's not faith anymore that we have, it's trust. They have demonstrated themselves to be reliable and dependable. Hey, all the coven witches coming in the building. Happy early birthday to you, Takara. So, trust is something that in a lot of ways comes a lot easier because it is created out of a response to an external action. If my boyfriend, which I don't have, but if my boyfriend was like, I want you to trust me, that would be pretty easy if my boyfriend showed up as dependable, faithful, reliable, consistently. I wouldn't really have to do much. It wouldn't really be a challenge. It wouldn't really be me taking a chance because they have earned my trust and proven themselves to be a trustworthy individual through their consistency and their action. But when I first meet them and they have not yet proven themselves to be trustworthy, and I let them go out with the boys anyway, and I don't, sweat it when they're out late anyway, or I, am okay with, not checking the phone or whatever anyway, that's faith. That's faith. That's me stepping out on faith. So understanding the difference between faith and trust is very helpful. And when it comes to working with spirit, whether it's our spirit guides, ancestors, angels, etc., we often have to start with faith. The truth of the matter is that they've been showing up for us consistently since we were first born. But more than likely, you haven't been taking notes. You haven't been keeping a record of it. You haven't written down every time you said a little prayer to yourself and that prayer was answered. You say prayers all day, every day. You're walking down the stairs, you almost trip. Oh my God, right? Like you say a little prayer all the time and that prayer was answered. You did not bust your ass. You did not break an ankle. You were just fine. So we have all these little prayers that we make through the day that get answered for us, but we don't record them. We don't track them. And so it's easy for us to dismiss them as just like coincidence or chance or whatever. And we don't realize that our guides, our angels, our ancestors are showing up for us, answering prayers all the time. So, because we're not paying attention to how consistent they actually are, you have to start with faith because you haven't really been paying attention to the evidence. So, as far as you're concerned, there is no evidence, and that's okay. But you start with faith, having faith in your guides, having faith in your ancestors, having faith in the angels. And then, because you're not a baby witch, you're a better witch, and I teach this in the Magic Intensive, how to do this effectively, you start to record these instances and these moments in your book of mirrors. And you start to develop a record of all the times when these guides, ancestors, etc., show up for you, answer your prayers, and guide you. And then over time, that faith can be replaced with trust because they will have proven themselves to be trustworthy, and you will be able to say, oh, look at this. All these times that I asked for my guide to offer me direction, to tell me what to do, to help clarify something, they did. And they were accurate. And I can rely on them when I need that type of guidance. I don't have to have faith in the angels. I trust the angels. They have proven themselves to be consistent time after time. And right now, I'm almost going through like a backwards moment where I have had trust for a long time because I've been a practitioner since I was 12 years old. I have tons of evidence of times where I have asked for guidance or intervention from some spirit, some energy being, something beyond myself, and they have come through, showed up, and showed out. What spirit is teaching me now is faith. And this is going to sound a little bit crazy coming from a witch, but this has centered around Jesus Christ. Jesus is a spirit like any other that way back when I was 12 years old, I parted ways with. I was like, hasta luego. I can't mess with your people. I can't mess with your church. Like, I'm not with it. They bring me more harm than good. I can't fuck with you, Jesus. Always. I don't mean to, but it happens. But hopefully in a good way, Mariah says, I have a list in my notes app called Synchronicities. Yes. Yes. Keep going with that. Keep going with that. They're not just synchronicities. Synchronicities are a part of the language that spirit speaks. Okay. They speak in signs, symbols, and synchronicities. They don't speak with words. So that's how they communicate to us. But ask yourself not just what was the synchronicity, but what was the prayer behind it? What were you asking for? What were you needing clarity on? What were you needing validation and confirmation about? The synchronicity was the answer. So each one of those synchronicities is actually an answered prayer. And even better would be to know who answered that prayer. That's why connecting with specific ancestors and guides is really helpful, because then you know exactly who answered that prayer and you know who to turn to when you have a similar question or similar issue, and you build relationships with those specific entities. Most of you right now are still in baby witch stage, which so was I, where you kind of just call out to the universe in general, right? You pull cards and you're like, universe. Answer my question with a card. Universe, show me a sign, right? It is so much better when you can actually say, Granddaddy, this is something for you. You dealt with this in your lifetime. I need you to help me. You overcame these types of challenges. I need you to help me. My granddaddy is the ancestor that is helping me the most with my business because he was born to sharecroppers and died a landowner with 5 different businesses that he passed on to his children. He was born 1 generation away from slavery and died a wealthy landowner and set all 8 of his children up for the same. So when I have questions about business, when I'm scared because I'm doing things I've never done before, I go to him specifically. Okay? My grandmother helps me in love. My grandmother had like 12 children with the same man. My grandmother saw all of her children except for one and that man pass away before she died in her 90s. So she knows what it is to love and she knows what it is to lose those loves. And she has helped me so immensely to navigate through my marriage and through my divorce. So I don't have to call out to the universe. I can go to specific entities to help me. Okay. Hey, Janae. Welcome, welcome. Won't he do it? Won't he do it? Okay. Yeah, or spirit or whatever. We tend to just like speak generally because we know there's something beyond us, but we don't know what it is. And the way I describe the universe and all of its energies is as a rainbow. If you've ever seen a rainbow, hopefully you all have seen a rainbow. We see it as different colors, but each one of those colors is the same thing. It's the same thing. It's just light being refracted and reflected through vapors of water. That's all. They're all the same thing, but they show up as different colors because they're being reflected at different frequencies. So is and the frequency of light is being split up into its different frequencies. That's the same way the universe works. So right now, a lot of you are talking to the rainbow, the whole rainbow. Hey, rainbow, help me out. And the beauty of being able to identify specific ancestors and guides is you can go to individual colors of the rainbow that are going to help you the most through what you're going through. And one of those colors of the rainbow, for me, for all of us, just one of those colors of the rainbow is Jesus Christ. He is one of the many vibrations that exist in that rainbow. And when I left the church as a preteen, I very much left him behind and was like, I can't with you. Yo no puedo contigo. I cannot. That's probably not correct, that sentence, but that was the idea. I was like, no, Jesus is not for me. His people are crazy. The church is a business and I'm not with it. And I've been being led to Christ by my guides, Black Herman in particular. And it's been really wild because I cannot trust Christ. I don't have a track record for him like I do for my grandfather, my grandmother, my various guides that have been with me my whole life, but that I've been working with like by name for the last 4 or 5 years. The angels, my archangel, my archdemon, all of these entities that I've gotten to know that have come through for me when I've asked for something and I have record of it. And I'm like, okay, yes, I can trust you. I don't have that for Jesus. So what that means is if I am going to allow him to work in my life, I have to have faith first. I have to say, even though I don't really know with certainty that you're going to show up for me, that you're going to answer these prayers, that you're going to come through for me, I'm going to step out on a limb anyway. I'm going to take those chances, and I'm going to have faith that you are going to catch me, that you are going to provide me with what I need. So it's been a very interesting and powerful weekend where I was led to call on Christ for certain things. And they didn't just happen, they happened like in very profound ways. And it's renewing a relationship that, I put to bed 20 something years ago. Um, yeah, and it's been really powerful and really interesting. So I'll tell you what happened. Lots of won't he do it moments. And I'm like, okay. And it was very poignant that I was in Harlem. I had to be in Harlem for this. It connects to Black Herman, but also Harlem being the place where Black Americans centered the church experience. So in Harlem, there is a church on every freaking block. I kid you not. From like 116th Street to 135th Street, East and West, there is a church on every other block. And every denomination, Baptist, AME, Episcopal, Pentecostal, all of them are represented. There are churches everywhere. What happened to me this weekend had to happen in Harlem. Even though I'm a Bronxite, I had to be in Harlem for this. And it was my guides that led me there. And it's my guides that are kind of reuniting this relationship. And it's unbelievable. And if I didn't have a relationship with my guides, none of this would be happening because I wouldn't know when they were talking to me. And I would think my way out of it, which is what I almost did. Thankfully, I know better than that. And I sat down with my cards and asked my guides to tell me what to do. And they did. And I was blessed beyond measure as a result. Hello. Hello. And I'm glad you did. I hope you did. And I'm glad you did. Because Christ and the church are not the same things. They're not the same things. What the human beings that have used Christ's story in order to build a business that benefits them is not the same as the man that first walked among us. And it's really a shame. But I do believe that for those of us who feel a connection to him, if you can separate him from the church, the blessings that he can bring to your life are immense. And I am just like touching the tip of the iceberg. I feel like he's saying like Usher said, watch this. I feel like he's like, watch this. Watch this. This is what I do. I reward the faithful with blessings beyond their wildest dreams. But you have to be faithful. You have to believe it before you necessarily have the evidence of it. That's just his deal. Some spirits want offerings. Some spirits want you to kill a chicken. Some spirits want you to pour out rum. Some spirits want a cake and watermelon slices. He wants your faith. He wants you to have faith. That's his whole bag. So learning that is, listen, I'm going to be doing a TED Talk thing that I created. Side note, I haven't announced it yet, but I asked on the HQ Instagram page whether or not you guys would be down for a lecture series from me that takes place in the shop that we would live stream to the coven. And I would do it like every couple of months. You would get a ticket. Your ticket would include a glass of wine, and you would get to come and hear me lecture for 45 minutes on a topic. And then there'd be an hour for like mingling. So I'm making that happen. And I'm calling them witch talks, like TED Talks, but witch talks. And the first one's going to be on September 15th, a Sunday from 5 to 7 at the shop. It will be live streamed to the coven. So if you don't live in New York, don't worry. And yeah, come have a glass of wine and talk about witchcraft and meet other people that are interested in these topics. And I'm just going to keep doing it at the shop. Hello. Yes. But my first topic is going to be overcoming religious trauma. That was the message that they put on my heart. That I have religious trauma that has kept me from reaching out to Christ when I've needed him. And that if I can overcome that religious trauma, I can have a relationship with Christ just like I do with any of the other energies that walk with me. And I can receive the blessings that he is ready to bring into my life. So some of us have been traumatized by the religions that we've grown in. Christianity. It's not just the Christians, but they're a big one. If you grew up in a religious household, you may have been traumatized in a way that has caused you to push away not only the religion, but the spirits that religion is based around. And that is unfortunate because while the religion may not be helpful for you, those spirits could still be helpful towards you. And you're not building a relationship with them because the religion turned you off so bad or hurt you so bad that you can't even say things like, help me, Jesus, or be with me, Allah, or whatever, without the PTSD of what you've gone through. So I'm going to be giving a lecture about overcoming religious trauma, and I'm going to be using my own experience to share with you like how you can do that, because I'm literally doing it right now. And I'm working through what, as a queer, spiritual, liberal woman of the New York City 90s, dealt with a church environment that made me feel like everything about me was a sin and I was going to go to hell just for existing. Realizing that Christ never said that, and that was human beings' interpretation of what he's all about. So anyway, yeah, that's going to be happening. So if you go to the BronxWitch.com events page, there's already a link to RSVP for that. Space is very limited, so definitely RSVP. If you don't live in New York, then consider joining the Coven, and then you'll be able to watch the live stream for free. Okay. Oh my God, yes, Jody, come to that. You will love it. You can RSVP now. You can get your ticket now. It's going to be open only to 25 people. So definitely, do that. If you become a member of the shop, also, you can either get half off tickets or free tickets, depending on the membership tier you join. So definitely check out the memberships page too. But you can always just get a ticket. Okay. And I'd love to have you there. So let's talk about what happened this weekend to bring me down this like crazy, crazy, crazy journey. And then I'm going to pull cards. So this weekend was not supposed to be a weekend. It was supposed to be one day. Shout out to Nuri for holding down the shop on Friday. My plan was to go to the beach Friday. We do a retreat. If you don't know about the BronxWitch Staycation, also go to the events page on the website. Check that out. We do a retreat every October near Halloween. I take 13 witches up to an amazing old house in the woods by the water, just 40 minutes away from the shop. And we witch for 3 days. I think Leslie's coming. Hello. Yes, Takara's coming. Um, and we do rituals, we do workshops, we do a nature hike. We have a tour guide, Perrin, who is a big part of this story, who is an expert on the history of the indigenous people in the Bronx. So we do a 5-hour nature hike, and he tells us all about the indigenous landmarks, where the Siwanoy Indians were, all that amazing stuff. We leave offerings, we do a ritual in the crossroads. It's freaking epic. We have every meal catered and prepared for us, and then we do a big cleansing ceremony Sunday morning. So last year we did the cleansing ceremony on the lawn of the property because it was raining. This year I want to go to a nearby beach and do the cleansing ceremony on the beach. So my plan was to go and scope out the beach and check out like the easiest ways to get there, and like, where there's some privacy and all that good stuff. So that was my plan, to go up to this beach. That's right. I've always used the Bible. Not always. I've used the Bible for many years in my practice because I recognize what it really is, which is a grimoire. So I've used the Bible a lot, especially as I have been trained by my hoodoo teachers. They rely on the Psalms very heavily. So that became a part of my practice. But Christ was the missing component. I was like, I don't need you. Thank you very much. I got the words and the instructions. I'm good. You stay over there. So I was planning to go to the beach, and then Perrin, shout out to Perrin, owner of The Bronx is Beautiful. And he was like, listen, there is a hotel that opened up right next to the Apollo Theater called the Renaissance. It's fantastic. There is a restaurant in there, and there is nothing but like affluent Black people, people of color, connecting with each other, networking with each other. The food's amazing. The drinks are great. The customer service is incredible. It's up on the 5th floor. So people don't know it's there unless they know it's there. And so the right crowd is there. And I really feel like you need to go there because you need to find people who could maybe invest in HQ or that you could collaborate with. You only know your students. You only know baby witches. You only know people that can be clients and customers, which is fabulous. But you need to meet peers that can help you grow, that you can collaborate with. And I was like, that's a really great point. But it's so hard for me to get out of the shop. I'm so unwilling to like close the shop down or close up early to go to these small business events, these networking events. But I have a Friday where Nuri's going to be in the shop. I'm going to do it. It's my birthday. Why not? Instead of staying at home, I'm going to go out and do this. And he's like, great. Friday nights is R&B night. Come out and I will introduce you to everybody I know. I'll introduce you to management at the restaurant. I'll introduce you to all the people and, make some connections, bring some cards, network. I was like, okay, that's what I'll do. Because my plan, I was really going to do nothing. I was going to go to the beach and then come home and sleep. But I was like, this is what I'll do. I'll go to the beach and then I'll go out for a few hours. I'll shake hands. I'll introduce people to me and my business, and then I'll go home. Ooh, the first lecture topic is overcoming religious trauma, but that would be a great follow-up. That would be a great follow-up. Thank you for that. I'm going to make a note of that. So Friday rolls around, and apparently hurricanes were hurricaning or something like that up here. So it was rain all day. And I was like, okay, well, the beach isn't happening. But I had already casted a spell on the new moon prior. Shout out to Alexis and Nuri. They came by and we had a new moon dinner. So that kind of kicked off my new moon festivities, dinner with the witches. Then the following day, I cast a spell and I created a spiritual bath that I put to the side, which you can do, by the way. Make your baths, put them in the refrigerator. They'll last for like 3-4 days. Put it in the refrigerator and was like, okay, I'm going to take this bath on my birthday, but I made it on Tuesday night. So since the beach wasn't happening, I was like, that's fine. I'm going to stay home. I'm going to take my bath. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to pull cards. And I'm going to go down to the hotel early, check in. I'm going to get dressed. I'm going to take everything I need to get dressed, take my time, and then I'll meet up with Perrin at 8 o'clock for R&B night. Very, very true. Yes, we used to do this a little bit more regularly at the shop, and Nuri inspired me to like revamp them because we kind of fell off. So next one is at Nuri's place. Okay. So I'm sitting here Friday afternoon and I'm just lounging. I talked to my mom for like an hour on the phone, something I haven't done in a while. I'm not rushing. I'm taking my time. I make a little lunch for myself. And I sit down and I pull cards and I ask for my particular guide to come through and ask some questions. And then I asked Black Herman to step forward and ask some questions. And both of them basically said the same thing. They were like, prepare yourself for the weekend. And I was like, I'm going out for like a few hours, right? Perrin had booked me a room at the Renaissance. I was not expecting this. When I told him I was going to come to R&B night, he was like, okay, I'm booking you a room. You need to stay there overnight. And I'm like, no, I can't. I have to open the shop at 11 in the morning. He's like, no, you have to stay there overnight. And I was like, you really don't have to do that. That's crazy. Like, you do not have to get me a hotel room, like, Perrin. Like, no. He was like, you're doing this. So I kind of like didn't really believe it all the way until the night of. And when the rain started happening, I was like, listen, if you made that hotel reservation, like, you can cancel it. Like, you know, don't worry about it. And he was like, absolutely not. You are staying at the hotel. And I was like, okay, so we're going to stay together. And he was like, no, I booked you a room for you. You need to absorb this energy. I pull cards Friday and Spirit is completely in alignment with this. They're like, pack a full bag and make sure you have extra. And I was like, what? I am leaving this hotel at 9 in the morning. I am getting up, I'm having breakfast, and I'm leaving. Like, what are you guys talking about? But I know better than to not follow the instructions. So I'm like, okay. So I put like extra underwear. I make sure I have enough toiletry for 2 days. Like, I pack up everything. I take everything that I would need to go to the shop. Because I'm like, all right, well, maybe I'm not going to stay 2 days or whatever, but maybe I don't get up as early as I think. Maybe I late check out and I stay late. So let me take my laptop, my notebook, like everything that I need so I can go right from the hotel straight to the shop. I go to the hotel, I'm getting ready, and on my way to the hotel, the taxi driver makes a wrong turn and goes to take me to the wrong location. And instead of the Renaissance Hotel, he takes me to the Renaissance restaurant, which caused us to go by a church in Harlem, one of the most famous churches in Harlem called Abyssinian Baptist Church. The churchgoers in here know what Abyssinian is. Black Herman went to Abyssinian. His house is just a couple blocks away. So on the way to the hotel, this taxi going the wrong way takes me past Abyssinian and past Black Herman's house. And I'm like, okay, synchronicities. I know better than to ignore those. That's weird. When I had told Nuri about my plans for the weekend, she had said, Black Herman is all over this. And I was like, okay, all right. You are guiding me to this weekend. Okay, you're with me. I get it. Cool. I don't really know what this means at this point, but I'm like, all right, interesting. So I get to the hotel. I start getting dressed. I unpack. I'm getting ready. Perrin shows up. And Perrin is like, hey, blah, blah, blah. We're talking, da, da, da. And I said to him, I was like, something really weird happened to me. My taxi driver went the wrong way and took me to the wrong Renaissance. And before I could tell him where I went, he goes, oh, I had a weird moment involving you too this weekend. On Wednesday, I went to church for the first time in a while. And I thought about you. Something told me to get you a pamphlet from the church. But then there was this fine ass boy that started talking to me, and I got distracted and I forgot to get you the pamphlet. But he was like, I was thinking about you. And I was like, oh, really? What's your church? And he's like, oh, I go to Abyssinian. I just explained to y'all how there's hundreds of churches in Harlem. I was like, you go to Abyssinian? He goes, yeah. I was like, Black Herman went to Abyssinian. He was like, no, I did not know that. And I was like, and I went by there today, and Spirit was telling me I needed to go there. And he was like, oh, shit, that's crazy. I was like, okay. All right, I'm supposed to go to this church. So that led me to start talking to Perrin about Christ and how Christ has been showing up in my life thanks to Black Herman, who was a devout Christian. Despite being a magician and despite being a hoodoo practitioner, he was a devout Christian. And he's been leading me to Christ. And I was like talking to Perrin about this, and Perrin was like, me too. I've been having like this really interesting thing. He was talking about getting saved earlier this year. And like, we were just talking about all of this. So I was like, okay, very, very interesting. He brought me a beautiful gift of a Muslim oil. And we kind of put the conversation to the side. We get dressed, we get ready. We're talking about the Bronx and how we want to, change the Bronx as always. And we start talking about how we are basically back in the Renaissance. I think Black Herman has come back at this particular time because the Renaissance is happening all over again. And it's the Bronx's turn to have this Renaissance moment. All of these businesses, all of these artistic creatives, all of these things that are happening in the Bronx, there's a connection. And we were just kind of talking about how grateful we are that like we are a part of the Bronx Harlem Renaissance. And back in the Harlem Renaissance, there was a connection with the Bronx as well. The Bronx was like the suburbs for all the wealthy Harlemites that didn't want to live in the middle of Harlem because Harlem was like Midtown, businesses everywhere, cars everywhere, parties everywhere. It was lit. But if you wanted to have a home, if you wanted to have a quieter lifestyle, wealthy Black people in Harlem would buy properties and live in the Bronx, right across the river where I am now, where HQ is now. So there was a connection with the success of Harlem and the Bronx then in the 20s. And it's like it's happening again now. So we were just talking about how grateful we are to be a part of that and all that good stuff. So we go down to have dinner. Perrin hooked us up with VIP bracelets to go to the rooftop party, which is like because that's Perrin, everybody knows him, so of course they gave him VIP tickets. So we go up there, we're smoozing, I'm eating tater tots, we're dancing, we're whining. We're going up and down the stairs. Then we sit down, we decide to have dinner before the kitchen closes. We have a fantastic dinner. We're watching the R&B show. Everything is wonderful. And I'm meeting all of these people. And I'm exchanging information with all of these people, movie directors and people that do events in Harlem and management of the restaurant and the band that was performing and all of these things. And I'm like, oh my God, like this might be the band at the next Tea and Tarot. Like this might be somebody who could do videography of the next event. Like they could make it really epic. Like I'm meeting all these people that I'm getting all these ideas and inspirations about how I need to connect with. And Perrin had said something a few weeks ago that really stuck with me. He said, you're going to have to leave the Bronx in order to make the Bronx what it can be. Because the connections that you need to make are not necessarily in the Bronx right now. You want to benefit the people of the Bronx, but the people of the Bronx are not necessarily in a position to collaborate with you and really do the things that you're trying to do for them. So they will benefit, but you need to leave the Bronx to meet other business owners, other creatives, other entrepreneurs that you can partner with to bring amazing things to the Bronx. And I was like, wow, I'm really seeing what he was saying. Like, this is crazy. So I was supposed to leave dinner at 12 o'clock, right? I was like, I'm going to leave early And then I'm going to go upstairs. I'm going to work on my secret project that my coven people know I'm working on. And I'm going to get a good night's rest for the first time in forever and go open up the shop in the morning. And Spirit had other plans. So we shut down the restaurant. We don't leave until like 1:30. Perrin met a very attractive young man in the bathroom and wanted to know if this very attractive young man was gay because he was giving that vibe, but we didn't know for sure, and whether or not he should go for it. So he's like, girl, I need a tarot reading. And I was like, Perrin. And he was like, please. And the man hooked me up with a hotel room at this beautiful luxury hotel. I'm not going to say no. I was like, well, God damn it. Fine. Let's go. We go upstairs. I'm going to give you a reading. So we go upstairs to do this tarot reading. Side note, the guy is gay, but severely closeted. We decided it was best to just leave that where it is. So anyway, but anywho, we do the reading. And then after a while, Perrin leaves. At this point, it's like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. And I shower, I make myself a cup of tea, and I sit down at the desk with my computer. I work on my project for about an hour. And I was just like, man, I love hotel rooms. I really do personally love hotel rooms. I've set up my bedroom like very hotel-like. I love hotels. And I just really enjoyed working on my project there. I have the skyline of Harlem behind me through these big windows. And it was just so cool and so vibey. And I was like, man, Black Herman, like, was this what it was like for you? Like when you were writing your grimoire, were you like sitting at a windowsill in Harlem watching the beautiful city and all the people going by from their like Friday night festivities and like soaking in the energy? Like I just very much felt like I was reliving something. So I wrap up. I'm like, let me go to bed. I'm tired now. I get in bed. And before Perrin left, Perrin was like, do you want to stay another night? And I was like, no, bro, come on. Like, you're going to be like $1,000 in on this weekend for me. Chill out. Like, I appreciate it, but no, like, that's pushing it. And he was like, okay. And I was like, it's fine. I'm going to leave in the morning. This was amazing. This was a beautiful night. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. I woke up in the morning and I could feel my guides talking to me. And they were like, you can't leave. You cannot leave. There is more for you to experience. You cannot leave. And I was like, oh my God, am I really about to do this? I do not just close HQ. In the 3 years that it's been open, I think I've done it once. One time where I was like going through something and I needed to close down for the day. It's so not like me. I am a stickler for professionalism and consistency. And I was like, I'm not going to close down. But they were like, no, you have to. You have to stay. And I was like, oh my God. So I called down to the front desk. They walked me through how to book the next night. I go to check and see what it cost. And it was half of what Perrin had spent for my first night. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's a really good deal. Like, I think I could do it. So I book another night, cancel my meetings, shut down the shop. I send out emails. I change the Google hours, all of that good stuff so that, I could feel good. And I stayed, and I'm so glad that I did. So the second day, it was like 11 o'clock at this point. I was like, let me get dressed. Let me get up. And I laid in bed and I worked on my project for like 3 hours. And I was like, around 4 o'clock, I need to get out and I need to get out into Harlem. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me back up. This is the big thing. How I knew to make this decision. I got up. It was like 10 o'clock. And I was like, okay, am I really going to do this? I could feel my guides talking to me, but I needed confirmation. I needed validation. So I pulled out the tarot deck I brought with me, the Mahogany Tarot. I called on Black Herman specifically. And I said, okay, tell me, am I really about to do this? What is going to happen if I stay? Why am I supposed to stay here another day? And first, of course, I pull out cards asking about, like, okay, what happens if I go to the shop? And basically it was like womp womp, everything in reverse, overwhelm, worry, nothing beneficial comes out of it. You're not going to have a lot of customers come through today. It was raining all week. Now it's sunny. Nobody wants to be indoors. Don't do it. I pull cards about, okay, well, what if I stay? What do I have to look forward to if I stay? And the message for if I stay was, you are going to be given inspiration and opportunities for creativity. And the confusion that you are feeling right now is going to go away. Because rather than going back to the shop and having 50 things that you could do that all feel like you need to try to do them, you are only going to work on one thing today because you only brought enough stuff to work on one thing. There's only one thing that makes sense to work on, and that's this project that you're working on. This project that Black Herman told you to do. It's the only thing that makes sense to work on today. So stay here, get inspired, watch the hustle and bustle of 125th Street downstairs, and write about it. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay, I'm doing this. So I shut down the shop, did the things I needed to do, and extended my stay for the day. I spent the afternoon working on that project. I have been like stuck on this project for a while, and it just flowed. I'm like 90% of the way done with it now. And when about 4 o'clock came, I was like, okay, I need to get myself together. While I was working on my project, Perrin and I had been texting each other because I messaged him to tell him, like, you were right, I extended my stay. And he was like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I'm so happy. I'm coming back tonight. I'm like, okay, we'll do dinner again. And at some point I was on Instagram and I saw that it was Harlem Week, which I did not know. And that this group called the Soapbox Presents was having this big block party a few blocks away from the hotel. And I messaged Perrin and I was like, hey, did you see this? We should go to this. And he goes, girl, I already posted on my page. We're going. I was like, oh my gosh. So the block party was at 8 o'clock, and they're very specific that you need to get there on time because it's only from 8 to 10 and you want to get a good spot. So I was like, all right, I don't want to be really late to this. Let me, if I'm going to go out and get dinner and like walk around Harlem, I need to do that now. And Spirit told me, go to Abyssinian. You need to go to the church. And I was like, oh, right. I could walk to the church. It's like 10 blocks away. So I get dressed and I just start walking. And if you're not a New Yorker, then you don't understand this. We don't stroll. It's not in our DNA because we only go outside if we have places to be, and we have to get there right now. New Yorkers are some of the fastest walking people you will ever want to meet. And may God have mercy on your soul should you get in our way while we are on our way somewhere. We will knock you to the ground and walk over you like a rug and not look back. We don't stroll. So it is not like me to stroll. And I just started strolling because I realized I really don't have to be anywhere. Like, I want to go to this block party but like, I don't have to do a damn thing. So I strolled. Facts, right? We will walk over you, your dog, your children. Don't get in the way. Okay? We do not stop for you. And we do not stroll. But here I was strolling, just taking in the sounds, getting hit on by all the lovely menses on the block, which was nice, you know. They were all very respectful about it. So I was just soaking it in. And I get to about 131st Street, and there's a block party, like a festival happening. And Spirit told me, go check out this festival. So I'm thinking I'm just going to make content. And, you know, because I will eventually, I'm on a social media break right now. I'm not really posting on my Instagram, but I am going to eventually like recap all of these events. So I was like, oh, well, let me just shoot video for future content. So, I'm taking video of the drawings that the kids drew in chalk on the ground, and all the little black kids and all the little Latin kids playing, and like the vibes. Hydrant is open, and the bounce house, and all these really cute like clips for my videos. And I see a woman selling crystal jewelry. And I was like, oh, she would make a great vendor for tea and tarot. So I go over to her. I start talking to her. She's interested. I give her all the information, and I'm like, wait a minute. Why don't I talk to everybody? So I start going around talking to all the vendors, the folks who made my t-shirt, the lady who does crocheted tops and hats. I start talking to everybody, and everybody's like, yeah, I would do your event. Yeah, I would totally vend. Absolutely. So I exchange information with all these people. So there are going to be some dope ass vendors at Tea and Tarot this for the equinox. We do it every solstice and equinox. So the last event was amazing, and we're about to like have even more cool vendors. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm probably making more connections today for HQ than I ever would by sitting in the shop indoors waiting for people to come to me. This is incredible. So then I go to holler at the DJ. And you have to get a special permit, if you want to have like DJ sound at an event. I don't think I'm going to get that permit for this tea and tarot. I think I'm going to have like a jazz musician and more like mellow music. But something told me to talk to him anyway, because maybe for the spring, whatever. And he goes, oh, by the way, even if you don't want me to DJ, I have another business. I do digital ads. I'll walk around your event and advertise. He has this thing that he wears that it's like a sign. You know how they do those signs where they wear it and it's like a back and front sign, except his is digital. So it's like a screen, and it will advertise whatever, and he will walk around for hours. Yes, it's going to be outside again. RSVP, event page for all these things I've been talking about. So that's okay, babe. We'll do it again in the spring. So I was like, oh my God, I'm definitely going to hire him to walk around the neighborhood advertising the tea and tarot while it's happening so people know to come through. I was like, yes. So these connections are incredible. This is amazing. Like, I just met 5 amazing vendors and somebody that could do digital advertising, which is so unique and different and cool, and a great, like, low key, hopefully low cost way to advertise the event while it's happening. So smart. So I finished talking to everybody, and I'm like, okay, continuing on my stroll. So I continue to walk up. I'm on Adam Clayton Powell, and I walk by a block that smelled delicious. And I was like, oh my God, what is that smell? Is that fried chicken? What is that? So I'm walking by the place that's got the smell, and I was like, ooh, y'all smell good. I'm hungry. And Black people, when we talk to each other, it's in a different vernacular. So we're speaking Blackanese to each other, and we're cutting up, and I'm making jokes like, oh, damn, y'all made me hungry. I ain't had breakfast, lunch, or dinner yet. They're like, girl, come in, get a plate, come on in. I was like, you know what? I'm going to come on in. I'm like, what is this? They're like, it's a pop-up event. There's a whole bunch of vendors inside. Come on in. And I was like, I sure will. So I go in and I talk to 5 more vendors. There was a homegirl selling sage bundles and homemade skincare. I hollered at her. She's going to be at Tea and Tarot. There was somebody that was making sweets, like packaged cheesecakes and stuff, and everybody was talking about how good the dessert was, and I talked to them. And there was a lady making sweatshirts and that wrote a book, a Black romance novel, and all of that. And I was like, I got a bookstore, come and sell your book. Like, so I made all these connections. One girl does adhesive nails, but real acrylic adhesive nails, and she had the best branding of all the vendors, like the best booth. It was so pretty. I was like, you got to come through. So I made all these amazing connections, and then I met the owner of the shop, and she's like, oh, this is my event. And I was like, oh no, I thought she was a customer. And she was like, "Oh no, my name is Shay. This is my spot. We do pop-ups like this all the time." And I was like, "Oh my goodness, I have a spot in the Bronx and we do pop-ups every solstice and equinox." And she was like, "Oh, we need to collaborate. We could maybe put our, events together, do it even bigger." And I was like, "Yes, ma'am. Absolutely, we should do that." She was like, "If you ever need vendors for your event, you just let me know. I literally have a Rolodex of hundreds of vendors, and I would happily let them know that you're having an event and that they should vend at your event." Vendor Lack of vendors, where? Never again. Never again will I have to be in people's DMs begging them to come and vend at a tea and taro. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is incredible." Um, how wonderful. It was so great to meet her. And yeah, so I'm like, okay, this is great. So I wrap up there, have me my little plate, wrapped up there, and then kept going to Abyssinian. Now, I don't exactly know how churches operate in terms of like timing. I assume they're open on Sundays. But my church, Mount Zion, growing up, was also open pretty much every other day of the week, just at different times, because there was prayer meetings and Bible study, and the soup kitchen would be open one day a week, and there was always something going on in the church. So like 9 times out of 10, it was open, even if service wasn't going on. So I assumed that Abyssinian would be the same way. Yes, Blackanese. It's an official language. And I get to the church and it's closed. It's completely closed. And I'm like, what? And I took some video and I took some pictures from a little content. And the message came through so clearly. And Black Herman said, "You didn't come here to go to church. I didn't bring you on this walk and have you walk this way to go to church. It's not about church. It's about having faith. It's not about church. It is about faith, and faith in Christ. You had faith. You stepped out on faith. You took a chance. You dropped the money. You booked the room. You got up out of bed. You walked through the neighborhood. You followed where you were being led. You walked in the direction of the church. You followed Christ to the church. And guess what? You never even had to go in, because it's not about the church. It's about following Christ's instruction, because he will lead you to blessings you would never have imagined. And that's exactly what happened. So I walked a different way back, stopped and got me something to eat and to take back to the hotel, and walked by Black Herman's house and put my hand on the gate and just said, "Thank you so much for making this reintroduction for me." Because when I was first reading Black Herman's grimoire and learning about how he was a devoted Christian and all of that stuff, those were the parts that made me uncomfortable. I was like, uh. And now I don't have that discomfort. And I was like, okay, thank you. So then I walked back. I got my t-shirt, right? Because I brought extra underwear and stuff like that, but I didn't bring another outfit. And I didn't want to wear the same outfit from my birthday night, because that outfit, if you saw it on my Instagram, was rather revealing. And I was going to be out on the block. So I wanted something more comfortable. So I had gotten my t-shirt, to show support to the t-shirt vendor and all of that. And this Aliyah shirt kept calling to me. And as you can see, it's blue and yellow. And as I was walking back, there's this big statue. Like, this is crazy. I have to show you guys the picture. I did not know this statue was there, which is nuts, because I feel like I know Harlem pretty well. But I'm walking back and I was like, it would be nice if I could find a skirt or some shorts or something to wear with this t-shirt tonight. So I don't have to wear the nice skirt that I brought with me. And, but I didn't want to go into like a rainbows or anything like that. So I was hoping that I would see like a vendor with stuff like that. But y'all see that? This is on the corner right before you turn into the hotel. I had no idea it was there. And when I went on my walk, I walked right by it, but I was on the other side of the street and didn't see it. And as I'm walking, I'm like, I think it's time for me to go back to the hotel now. But I still haven't found bottoms to wear. And I look up and I see this statue of Adam Clayton Powell holding a Bible, and it says, "Keep the faith." And I said, okay, all right. I don't have to make it happen. I don't have to search for it. If I'm supposed to have an outfit for this night, I will have it. And it's going to happen between the corner and the hotel. So I'm walking to the hotel and I see a vendor in front of the hotel. And it's this old guy that I had bought a bottle of perfume from the first time I came to the Apollo a few weeks ago. And I was like, that's crazy. I had seen him earlier that day and I had said to myself, maybe I'll check out his clothes. So I walk over to him and I was like, you got any skirts? And he was like, no, I don't have any skirts, but I have pants. And you can tell that he doesn't get a lot of sales because he's very, once you're talking to him, he's like pushy, you know? But I was in such a good mood. It was fine. I was like, okay, all right, settle down now. I'm gonna find something, relax. I was like, man, I really wanted a skirt. He's like, I have these pants. And he's showing me the pants, and the pants are long because I'm a small person and it's these one size fits all type pants. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. They're a little too long. And he's like, you can roll them up. You can roll them up. Da, da, da. He's like, they're $30. I'll give them to you for 20. I'll give them to you for 20. And I'm like thinking, I'm not sure. And he's like, I'll throw in a bracelet. And I was like, all right, buddy, you know what? I respect my elders and I want to make sure you're good. You're obviously really desperate for a sale. Like, no problem. I was like, $20. I'll take a bracelet and a pair of pants. Not thinking about what I had bought. So I get a pair of pants and I go upstairs and I'm taking everything out of my bag to hang up while I eat and shower and stuff. And the pants, I realize, are black. The design on them is like pineapples. They're orange and yellow. And then there's triangles that are this exact shade of blue. And the drawstring of the pants is this exact shade of yellow. It was a perfect outfit for the night. I had picked up a couple other pairs of pants. My first eye went to the purple one because you guys know how I feel about purple. Went to the purple pants. But he hands me the blue and yellow pants and he's like, no, take these. I'll give them to you for 20. And I go upstairs and I realize I have a perfect outfit for the night. I'm like, wow, keep the faith. So I eat a little bit. I get ready. Parents, like, I'm already at the block party. I'm getting us a good spot. Come through. I'm like, okay, let me get ready. I'm running a little behind. It's like 8:15, but I get out of the hotel room and I walk down to meet him. He has a perfect spot. Thank you, Jody. I appreciate that. Yes, thank you. I know, right? The keep the faith. I'm sorry, huh? Signs and synchronicities is how they talk to us. So everything I needed, I got in that walk. I met a bunch of vendors. I made a potentially really amazing business contact. I made it to the church, made it to Black Hermit's house, and got an outfit for the night. And it cost me like less than $30. Even when I was at the shawarma place where I got dinner for myself, I ordered a falafel shawarma, paid for it, and then I realized, oh shit, I didn't get a drink. And so I went and got a club soda and I was like, oh, I'm sorry, this. And the guy goes, take it. Like people were giving me free stuff the whole time, giving me stuff from their tables, free raffle tickets, all these things. Everybody was just, I was supposed to be there. So I go to the block party. Perrin had a perfect spot on the stoop right across the street. Who is standing there? Tia, the owner of the Bronx Collab. Jody, Jasmine, a bunch of other Bronx people are there that know Perrin, are enjoying the festivities. And I'm standing next to this woman named Kitty who is selling nutcrackers. If you don't know what a nutcracker is, it's like a little juice with alcohol. Every event, somebody is selling them. So she's selling nutcrackers. And I'm like, let me get one of those. Perrin introduces me. Kitty works for BronxNet TV. She's a producer and a teacher at the school that BronxNet TV is attached to. I'm talking to her and I'm telling her, oh, I've been on BronxNet. I've been on the show Open a couple of times. And she goes, oh, there's bigger shows than that. I will put you in touch with the producers. We need to put you on some bigger shows on BronxNet. So now I've got press coverage for Tea and Tarot and potentially some features of myself on some bigger shows on the network. We're vibing out to the music. The band is incredible. The vibes are immaculate. The whole block is shut down and it is packed. And there's no anxiety. There's no tension. Everybody's looking out for everybody. Some lady passed out. Everybody took care of her. The police were on deck and they were actually nice. Like it was unbelievable. ASAP Ferg, if you don't know him, a rapper from Harlem, does a surprise appearance. So everybody's turned up and lit. Like it was really incredible. It ends on time. As I'm sitting there, I was like talking in my head. And I said, Spirit, I know my plan was to go back and work on my project. I wanted to finish it in Harlem. But I said, if I could be perfectly honest with you, my husband and I have been going through this divorce since 2020. I have not hooked up with anybody in that time. If I can be really honest with you, what I want tonight is to connect with one of these beautiful Black people around me and take one of them back to my hotel room. That's what I really want. As I'm saying this, some random gentleman stands in front of me. Like he was moving through the crowd trying to find a good spot to stop. And because Kitty had the cooler, that made like an area where people were not standing because like they didn't want to block the cooler. So I guess he figured, oh, this is a good spot to stop and it's right in front of the stage. So he stops in front of me. I didn't put it together just yet. Okay. But he stops in front of me. It was an incredible night. I'm so glad I met you, Jasmine and Jody. And I'm like, okay, you can stand here. I'm sitting. I got Perrin had me up on the stoop. Perfect spot. I'm chilling. I'm relaxed. I'm easy. I'm in heels, but I'm not on my feet because I'm sitting. I'm drinking. I'm having me a good old time. I can see everything. Perfect view of the stage. Like I'm chilling. He stands in front of me. I'm like, it's no big deal. He can stand in front of me. I don't care. He's not blocking my way. It's fine. Somebody starts talking about the Bronx, of course. You know, I think I was filming a story and I'm like, yes, the Bronx is in the building. Da, 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 da. And this girl walks by, this woman, and she was beautiful. Hey, Alexis. This girl was beautiful. She was like an angel. She walks by and I couldn't help myself. I saw her and I said, God damn, you are pretty. Like as she's walking by. So this made everybody laugh. And the guy in front of me looked up and was like, she's mad pretty, right? He was like, I was thinking the same thing, but I can't say that out loud. And so this was the first time we talked. So then he goes, oh, I heard you say you're from the Bronx. And I was like, yeah, I'm from the Bronx. He's like, oh, me too. And I'm like, oh, Perrin, da, da, da. What's your name? Nice to meet you. Blah, blah, blah. We start talking. He starts talking. Next thing you know, he's a part of the crew. So Perrin's there, Jasmine's there, Jody's there, Kitty's chatting, Tia's over here, and now this guy is now a part of like our crew, and he's talking with us. This other girl named Cece shows up at one point. So now it's a crowd, right? So the event ends, Tia leaves, me and Tia dap up, and we're like, we need to talk. Because I was like, we need to bring a block party like this to the Bronx ASAP. And Tia has connections. I have connections. We have spaces. We can make this happen. And she was like, I'm coming to your shop next week. We're going to have a meeting. We need to make this happen in the Bronx. This was amazing. And I'm like, let's do it. So she leaves. The rest of us are like, well, what are we going to do? We're like, well, why don't we go back to the hotel? I have a room and the restaurant's still open. So we go to the back to the Renaissance. We go to the restaurant. The restaurant was closed. The kitchen was closed, but bar bites were still available. So we have some bar bites. Fried green tomatoes were off the chain. And myself and this gentleman are striking up a conversation. We walked the whole way back to the hotel together. He actually picked me up off the stoop, which was nice because, can I say, he's a rather skinny individual. But the fact that he was able to pick me up so easily and put me down so gingerly was quite impressive, I have to say. So we walked back to the hotel arm in arm. We get to the restaurant. Perrin says he wants the peach cobbler. I said I want to try the fried green tomatoes. This guy wanted something else or whatever. He makes it to the bar before we do. I get to the bar and I'm like, oh, I want to order such and such. And he goes, I already ordered for you. Excuse me, stranger? He ordered for me, Perrin, and everybody else, paid for all the food, brought it back to the table. If that's not a miracle in 2024, are you kidding me? We don't have to go 50-50? What? Praise God. So we get back to the table. We're having our food. Everyone's talking. I've had a couple of nutcrackers at this point. So I'm doing that thing where you go to the girls' room and then you stay in there for 20 minutes because you have long ass conversations with all the women in there. So I'm doing that thing. So I keep disappearing into the ladies' room. And so finally, the restaurant is shutting down. I go over to the manager because I'm a little bit tipsy. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. The bartender said that the bar is closed. He was like, no, it's not. It's 4 more minutes. I was like, ooh, can we have 7 vodka cranberries for me to take back to my room? And he was like, I have to put them in plastic to-go cups. And I was like, that's fine. That's fine. I'm not glassy. I don't need glass. He was like, all right, fine. So he goes, gets us 7 vodka cranberries. I go to pay for it. My new friend goes, oh, no, I got it. Sir. I was like, no. This was my idea. I was like, okay, listen, we'll go 50-50 because I'm putting it on my business card anyway, right? And he was like, if you insist. I was like, I insist, please. This was literally not my idea. Like, you paid for food because you were also eating, but this was literally my idea. But this man paid for half the drinks for no reason. So the manager hooks it up, gives us 7 vodka cranberries and like a cup full of like lemon drop shot and 7 empty cups. He's like, I also threw in a round of shots for you guys. And I was like, what? You're amazing. Right. So we leave a big tip, go upstairs to my room. And we're just being like kind of belligerent, acting like kids, giggling, laying all over the bed, like talking, da 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 da. At one point, some of the group go to, I don't even know if it technically counts as, I don't think I can write it off, but I was just like, I just didn't want him paying for everything. Now that I think about it, I really need to stop like talking myself out of my blessings. I really should have just said, sure. But I was like, that's too much. So at some point, Perrin and people go up to the terrace upstairs. They come back down and they're like, oh, we just went to a terrace. And I was like, there's a terrace? I didn't know about that. So me and my new friend, yes, new friend, me and my new friend go up to the terrace. So now we're alone on the terrace, right? And so we're talking. I don't remember about what at this point, because at some point he pulls me in closer And the next thing you know, now we're kissing. That was quite lovely. I have not done this in a long time, so I feel a little awkward. And I also have like a lack of desire to kiss anybody because we went through a fucking pandemic while I was going through my divorce. So I have come out on the other side of it, just basically convinced that everyone is riddled with disease. And I just don't need it in my life. So I was a little awkward and a little hesitant, and he was very respectful, um, and very polite, and smelled showered. And yeah, it was very nice. Um, Yeah, thank you. Thank you guys. Nothing happened while you guys went up to the terrace. We were just talking um at that point. But when we went to the terrace, we had some time. So then, I was like, well, I think it's time to maybe ask our friends to head on out for the evening. And I was like, are you like, in a rush to go home or whatever? And he's like, no. I'm like, okay. He's like, I have a 10 o'clock meeting. I was like, I have a 10 o'clock meeting. So that works out quite fine. All right. So we go back downstairs. I start saying bye to everybody. Everybody leaves. And then it's just he and I. Um, and I, probably don't have to get into too many details about that. But, when a man loves a woman and the birds and the bees, and it was phenomenal. It was truly, truly phenomenal. Um, I was a little awkward, like I said, kind of like riding a bicycle type thing. Um, and he was assertive and confident, but not rude or pushy or anything. Um, and he was very clear on like what he liked, which made it easier for me to be clear about like what I liked, and those things happened to line up very well. And yeah, it was a wonderful, wonderful evening. So um my original plan was, I was like, okay, whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen, and then I'm gonna kick him out because I like my alone time. Okay. I like my alone time. I am not used to sleeping with anybody anymore, and I don't really want to. I don't really care to like have to accommodate your comfort. So my plan was to spend a couple of hours with this gentleman and then tell him he needed to head on home so that I could enjoy the rest of my very late night / early morning to myself. But that didn't happen. I felt really comfortable. And so we just went to sleep. And at like 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, I wake up to hearing him getting dressed. And I'm like, under the covers, I'm like, oh, hey. And he's like, oh, sorry, I didn't want to wake you. I want you to have your alone time in the morning. I don't like having people in my space either. So I wanted you to have your time. I know you have a meeting to get to. So I'm leaving a little early, hope you don't mind. And I was like, no, that's okay. But I didn't get up. I didn't get up to help him leave. I didn't get up to hug anybody, kiss anybody goodbye, none of that nonsense. I gave this man a dap. I reached up from the bed and I said, it was really nice meeting you. You should call me sometime. And he was like, okay, all right. Well, have a great day. It was great meeting you too. Nice. Bye. And I was like, deuces. I went back to sleep. I was like, I had a great time, friend, but I also don't give two shits about you just yet. I'm so sorry. It was what it was. See you around sometime. You know what I'm saying? And I think he was really surprised. I think he was used to young ladies probably being like, when am I going to see you again? And what's it? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You were a gift from God for the evening only. I opened my gift. I enjoyed it. Go away. So I go back to sleep. I get back up again. It's now like 9:45. I'm supposed to have a meeting with Alexis. I'm like, it's not happening. I'm like, I'm not extending my stay another day, but I'm just not ready to start this day. And I'm not ready to go into the shop. So I called for a late checkout, took my time recovering from this hangover. Then rescheduled my meetings, closed the shop down again. Got up, had a freaking phenomenal brunch, shrimp and grits at the restaurant before I left. The lady at the front desk, name's Ingrid. She is amazing. She made my weekend so wonderful. And then it turns out that we had met before at a women's empowerment brunch at a place called Brunch at Zion's in the Bronx. The owner, who is a friend of mine and is a friend of hers. Super crazy. So I have my breakfast and I get in an Uber. I come home. I'm finally looking at all of my messages. And you know, I had a message from Perrin that he sent me at like 5:30 in the morning, which must have been like after he got home, after leaving the hotel. And his message said, "Don't kick that boy out. He's a gift from spirit." So I texted him back and I was like, I know. I let him stay. I didn't kick him out. I was gonna. That's so crazy. Perrin had no idea what was going on in my head. That's exactly what my plan was. My plan was to spend a couple of hours with him, do whatever we were gonna do, and then be like, "Yeah, so it was nice to meet you. How are you getting home?" That was my plan. But I didn't. I let him stay, and it was quite nice. Um, and yeah, he texts me all day, periodically checking in on me. At like 9:30, he's like, "Are you up? Are you going to make it to your meeting? How are you feeling?" Couple of messages throughout the day. And then later that night, he was messaging me and then he called. And I don't do phone calls, but I picked up after like 3 rings and he goes, "Don't you be hesitating to pick up my call." And I was like, you knew exactly what was happening. I was about to not answer. And he was like, "Yeah, I just feel like text messages, like a lot can be lost in text messages. So, I'm from the phone call generation. So, I wanted to just call and talk." And we ended up talking for like an hour and change. And yeah, that was pretty cool. So now I'm in recovery. Today I slept all day. I finally feel like I'm fully back at it. I don't drink really anymore. So just a little bit that I had was there. You dropped Perrin off. He was falling out in your van. Well, he was awake enough to text me not to kick that boy out. He was like, "Don't kick that boy out. He's a gift from spirit for your birthday." And I knew. I already knew that. So um yeah, so much. So many synchronicities, so many messages, so many connections made. I probably met 20 different people. Um it was just incredible. Just incredible. So faith, 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 faith. I'm really realizing that that is something that's been missing from my practice. And in particular, faith in Christ has been missing from my practice because of my just trauma and because of my feeling like I had to reject that relationship in order to be a witch and all of that. And it's been very eye-opening and interesting. And I'm really glad that I stepped out on faith and listened to my guides and did the thing. So that is what having a relationship with your guides can do for you. If I didn't have a relationship with my guides, I would have relied on my own brain and I would have said, "You can't shut down the shop on a Saturday. You have to be reliable and responsible. You have to go in. Even if you're late, you have to be there." I would have completely missed on everything that happened, because even the first day of my birthday was incredible. But what was waiting for me on the second day was potentially life-changing. And if I did not have a relationship with my guides, know how to ask them to step forward and give me an answer for my question, I would have missed it entirely. We were all supposed to meet each other. We were all supposed to meet each other. And we probably created friendships that are going to last a while and bring so many things into our lives that we did not expect. Like, we all thought we were just going out to catch a show and, you know, hang out on a Saturday night. And I think something so much more profound actually happened that night. So, really glad that you were there. So glad to have met you. So glad to have met you, Jody. Yeah, it was amazing. My Capricorn. All right, so before I leave you all this evening, I'm going to pull a card from this deck that I've really been vibing with. I got it like 2 years ago. And this is her first edition of the deck. Yep. Deck number 9 of 1,000. This is one of the first. This is number 9 of her first iteration of this deck. So I have the original. Check the description of this video for an Amazon link if you like these cards and want to get them for yourself. Check the description for my Divine Guidance, How to Work with Your Spirit Guides class, and for the code that I am giving just to you guys. Yes, number 9. Oh shit, yes, my power number. The code is live stream for 50% off of my Divine Guidance, How to Work with Your Spirit Guides class that I am teaching Wednesday night. If you cannot attend the class, it lives forever in the HQ online portal. So register now before the code expires on Wednesday, and you can then take the class whenever you have the time for it, whenever you feel ready. And you can always book a spirit guide reading with me, and I will help you to identify and connect with your own spirit guide that you can start working with. It will. Oh my God, Leslyn, yes. This semester of the Better Witch Intensive is going to have a little bit of a twist because something has shifted in my life. And I think I'm going to be able to speak to all of the Better Witches that feel like they have to reject Christ in order to live as a witch and practice magic and divine and do all of those things. And you definitely don't. And I've always said that you don't, but I haven't necessarily lived that in my own life. And now I can really say what it is like to have faith in Christ, to ask him for the things that you need, to let him bless you and show up in your life, and not necessarily be a part of a religion or a church organization that, you know, may claim to be based on him. Yeah, shout out to Jody for being the connection. Love that. All right. And for those of you interested in the Better Witch Magic Intensive, my 6-month class and coaching program for witches that are tired of being baby witches and are ready to become better witches, the semester kicks off September 4th. The last day to enroll is August 28th. And if you come to the Divine Guidance class, I'm going to be talking more about that and extending you some special offers for that semester as well. There are videos on this channel of my Better Witch graduates, some of them talking about their experiences. So if you have any more questions, watch those videos. I agree. I needed to share this with you guys. So let's see what message Spirit has for us. Usually when I'm pulling cards for the collective, it is, which I don't do as often anymore, but when I do, it's usually in relation to the moon phase, new moon or full moon, asking Spirit for guidance about what we can glean or work on or call in or let go of for that moon phase. But tonight, I really feel like I need to ask for the collective how we can keep the faith. And as always, I'm going to ask for Spirit to give us the answers specifically for the zodiac elements, earth signs, air signs, water signs, fire signs. You can listen to the message for your sun, moon, or rising signs. How can each of the elemental zodiacs keep the faith? Earth signs, sun, moon, and rising. Earth signs, you are definitely being called to connect with your guides, because for you, seeing is believing. Of all of the signs, you have your feet most severely planted in the material world. It is very difficult for you to have faith in things that you cannot see, that you haven't seen before, that are not actually playing out in front of you. You would benefit immensely from a relationship with a guide that can show you things in the material world, make things happen in the material world, so that having faith can be a bit easier for you. You might also benefit from guidance in the real world in the form of a mentor. This mentor might be a fire sign, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. But regardless of their sign, they show up in the world as a figure of authority. They are a leader of an organization or a group of people or a community. They are something of a warrior. So they have a commanding energy about them and have overcome a lot of challenges. I'm being called to pay attention to the Ankh. They've created that community. Something. Are you still there? I just saw the screen go black. Comment if you guys are still there. Spirit activity can cause disruptions. in electronic devices. Oh, the music just skipped too. Yes, still there. It cut out, but you're back. Okay. So this figure did not step into their position of power. They were not given it. They did not inherit it. This is somebody that has created something themselves and been put into a position of power. Okay, my Virgo queen says, yes, seeing is believing. Yeah. So aligning yourself with someone who has it's almost like if you can't see it in your own life, align yourself with someone who is seeing it in their lives, someone that you can trust, someone that you know isn't BS, that isn't just like making stuff up. I got a sign, but that you can really see the results of it playing out in their lives. It's almost like borrowing their faith for a second, borrowing theirs until you can feel more confident about your own, because you are so connected to the material world. You can't really put your faith in something that exists nowhere. It's got to be showing up somewhere, even if it isn't in your own life. Perhaps it's in the life of somebody else who you respect, who you trust, who you consider a mentor or a teacher or a leader. Aligning yourself with someone like that. So this is in the spiritual realm, a spirit guide that you can turn to and talk to and start looking for their messages and building trust in them. But also in the real world, this may be an actual physical person. Like I said, most likely a fire sign, if not a fire sign, somebody that has created a community or a business that they now sit at the head of, and that is something of a warrior, someone fairly stubborn, fairly disciplined and convicted in their ways, and very much like, I am here to create something. Let me share my experiences with you so that you can start to look for these in your own life. And it's almost like you can borrow their faith until you start seeing these things in your own life. But it does mean you will have to listen, just so you know. Whether you connect with a spirit guide and you pull cards to talk to them, or you connect with a mentor and they have advice for you, if you insist on falling back into the habit of doing things your way because you're more comfortable with them, then it will be a squandered opportunity. It's not enough to find the guide or the mentor. You have to be willing to listen to them and follow their direction. So just keep that in mind. Air signs: Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising. How you can keep the faith. Ace of Cups. I was just listening to someone the other day, I think it was the Glamour Witch LA, talking about the power of tears. I use my tears in my spell work a lot. The first message that's coming through for you, air signs, is you've got to let that out. I feel like a ball in your throat. This is very much, we have this like symbol of the Holy Spirit and communion. This is very much give it up at the altar type of a feeling, air signs. You are not going to see how spirit, whether it's Christ or another spirit, can show up in your life if you don't give the problem to them. And you're holding on to it because of your discomfort with being emotional, with your discomfort for pleading for help, with your discomfort with prostrating before something. But this is not about making yourself small. It's not about saying, oh, I can't do anything for myself. I need some divine being to come and do it for me. It's not about that. You're not making yourself smaller by doing this. It's about saying, I don't have to carry this burden by myself. And I have faith that if I give it to you, you will carry it for me. You don't get brownie points for going through the hard parts of life by yourself. You don't get brownie points for making yourself a martyr. Let it out. Whether it feels right to get on your knees or sit before an altar or go to church or go out by the water, go out in nature, wherever you feel comfortable enough to let this out, let it out. Cry those tears and call out for the help that you need. You don't have to figure it out yourself. And another message that's coming through is about taking analysis and stock of the people around you, because there are people around you that are maybe taking a bit too much. I think Ayanla Van Zant said this on an Oprah episode, but it sticks with me. The cup is for you. The cup is for you. Everything that overflows out of the cup is for everybody else. So right now you might have people that have like straws in your cup, or you might be tipping over the cup in order to fill theirs up. And it shouldn't be that way. Let your cup be filled up by the spirits and the guides that you are reaching out to, that you want to call on to. And only when you are so full that you are overflowing do you let people have some of what you've got. And they get what overflows, nothing more, nothing less. They don't get what's in your cup. Do not let people deplete you. Work with the herb blue lotus or white lotus even, but the lotus, the lily family, um, work with the herb blue lotus. You can smoke her, you can drink her, you can make medicine out of her. Work with blue lotus to help you. Blue lotus is what my herbal teacher calls consciousness shifting herb. So it's not psychoactive like cannabis or anything like that. But if you smoke cannabis, mixing some dry blue lotus in there would be a really good idea. If you don't smoke, don't start smoking. Instead, put her into a tea or even infuse her into red wine. Drink that and allow that to help you slip into a bit of a trance state where you will feel more comfortable to just let those emotions pour out. Water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, water signs, sun, moon, rising. How you can keep the faith is by making investments in yourself. You've been working really hard to build up your finances and your financial stability, maybe almost to the point of hoarding it a little bit. Spirit is saying it is okay to make that investment in yourself. It is okay to spend a little bit of it. The reason why you are not is because you don't have faith that you are either spending it in the right place or have faith that you will be able to get it back and re-earn it, reaccumulate it. Have faith that you've chosen the right class, you've chosen the right home, you've chosen the right vehicle, you've chosen the right thing. So, whatever it is that you are thinking about investing in, but really unsure about, have faith. Let this be the thing that shows you what can happen when you operate from a space of faith. Make that investment in yourself, in your future, in your family, and watch how it pays off. And if you were to take an assessment of your life up until now, you'll realize that this has happened many times before. That when you have taken a chance and made that investment, it has paid off for you abundantly. So they're almost like laughing and almost being like, this is silly that we keep doing this. But I think part of it might be because you're not taking a record of those moments. So they're not really present in your mind. It might benefit you to sit down and make a list of all of the times where you have invested financially in yourself or your family and how that turned out. When was the last time you were not sure about spending that money or buying that thing? And how did it turn out? I think what you're going to see is numerous times you have been led to something that you needed, but it costs money. You decided to make that investment and it paid off immensely. So you need to see that they have come through for you before. And maybe by keeping a record of it, you can move from faith to trust, because you'll see that you actually do have the evidence that these things are not coincidences, they're not desires. There's an impulse, there's synchronicities, there are things that are placed right in front of you that almost like seem too good to be true, so they make you nervous. But they're actually answers to your prayers. And you run the risk of missing out on the answer to your prayer because you're too concerned about making the investment in them. Make the investment. These things that are being presented to you are the answers to your prayers. Fire signs: Leo, Aries, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. How can you keep the faith? You feel small right now and perhaps unsupported and alone. You have big dreams and ideas, but they feel distant. Keep going. Keep going. You are going to reach that destination. But as you continue on this journey, instead of looking down in front of you and looking for what the next safe step is or what the next step should be, look up and walk blindly. Walk blindly with faith. Look up for your answers. Look up for guidance. Look up for inspiration. The beings that walk with you are where you want to keep your attention trained. The practical questions of how do I do this? When do I do this? What's the right move, etc. Those are only going to run the risk of causing you to stop in your tracks and delay in making decisions. Keep your eyes trained to the heavens. Take your instruction from above. Tune out what people around you are saying. The only way for you to really know that any of this is real is if you get to your destination while looking up. You have a vision in mind. You are not interested in the journey. The whole idea that like the journey is what's great. The journey is what's great. You're like, fuck the journey. I'm over the journey. I've been on the journey. I've been in this desert for a minute. We've been journeying. I want to get to my destination. I'm ready to get to the finish line. And Spirit is saying, okay, the fastest way there is by not trying to figure out what your next steps are, but to turn to us and let us tell you. We will get you there faster than anything else. But you have to have faith. So keep going, but stop trying to manufacture your success. Because of the journey, you've already made the connections, laid the foundations, built up the stamina, you've done all the stuff. Now it is time to surrender and let Spirit take over. Close your eyes and let them guide you. And that is horrifying and scary, but that's what stepping out on faith is all about. The good news is, once you've stepped out on faith and they prove to you that they got your back, you don't have to step out on faith anymore. Now you can trust. And look at that. Welcome, Aries. I pray that that message resonated for you. If it did, if any of the signs just received a message that spoke to you, know that I call on my guides to come forward and deliver these messages. It is just my job to translate them. So if you would like to pay homage to my guides, a super chat in this video is a great way to do that, to express gratitude and exchange the energy that they just shared with you. If you do not have a relationship with your spirit guides, then I recommend getting a spirit guide reading with me. The link to that is in the description box. Or if you feel like you don't need a reading, you would instead like to learn about what spirit guides are, how to work with them, etc. I am teaching a class on this very topic, Divine Guidance, how to work with your spirit guides, on Wednesday night. My classes live in the online portal forever. So even if you can't tune in, I recommend that you register, and then it will be in your student dashboard and you can take it whenever you want. And the reason why you are going to want to register before Wednesday is because I have given everybody in this live stream a special code for 50% off of that class. And the code is livestream. All right, y'all. If you're watching this video on a replay, you can also give a super chat. It's called a super thanks. So just look for the super thanks option under the screen. So if one of the messages that just came through resonated with you, helped you in some way, shined some light on something, you can express gratitude to my guides for stepping forward and delivering that message for you with a super thanks. If you're here in the live, you still have a minute or two, you can select super chat and say thank you that way. I'm going to thank my guides by giving them honor and gratitude. Thank them for stepping forward, for providing messages that were clear. Thank you for providing messages for the collective, because you don't have to do that. You are not their guides. So thank you for sharing messages that all of the watchers today can take and use I'm very appreciative. Thank you for letting me to be the translator of this message so that it can be understood and received. And I want to send everybody who is watching this now or later off into the rest of their evening or their day with lots of love and light. As I will, so mote it be. All right, y'all. I think that is it for this evening. Thank you all for being here, for listening to my story, and for receiving this message. This was a surprise live, which I do here on YouTube. If you want to make sure that you see me live, then you might want to become a part of the Coven community. I go live every full moon for something called High Tea Live. We enjoy herbs and we talk about witchcraft. And this month, I'm going to have a special guest, Alexis. We're going to be talking about healing the witch wound. You'll be able to watch the replay on YouTube, but if you want to get into the stream room so that you can ask questions and be a part of the conversation, then join the Coven community and you get to tune into that for free. So I will see you all in my next live. Blessed be everybody.